How do you keep something secret? You hide it in plain sight.
July 8, 1947. The flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If you look at the document sent to J. Edgar Hoover, 3 so-called flying saucers had been recovered in New Mexico. It has become the #1 document viewed on the FBI website.
There have been ET visitation, and people have been attempting to conceal this knowledge.
We actually did recoveries of bodies that were involved with some of these crashes.
I said, well, you're going to tell the public about it. And he says, no, we don't tell the public about this.
There became to be this bifurcation, this separation between legitimate national security and military operations and the deep black programs that are unacknowledged. If people think that it's just a UFO issue, they're gravely mistaken.
This is one of the ultimate secrets that needs to be exposed.
If there was a project that was illegal, the president doesn't know it's occurring, who's going to stop this from happening?
The moon of Mars. There's a very unusual structure. When people find out about that, they're going to say, who put that there?
These deeper black programs have the technology to hoax an alien invasion. They could do it, and they could do it in a way that's 100% believable.
It's very easy to set up a false flag operation, concoct all kinds of false information. They have people embedded in all the major media to change and affect stories. If you tell anyone about this project, this bullet has your name on it, and it will find you.
The strategy was that first the Russians were the enemy, then terrorists would be identified, then third world country crazies. The last card is the alien card, and all of it is a lie. A lie.
When we get a close-up here, we can clearly see there, standing, sitting, what looks to be a woman. This is not a rock. A woman in Mars? Come on, are you crazy? What is this? Tell me, is this a rock? You can see the dress, you can see the hand. With some filters, you can even see the color of it. This is, for me, one of the most important evidences ever. Less than a mile away, the Spirit took this picture. What is that? In the middle of nothing. It is like a house from the earth, made with stones, one stone over the other. A rustic house. What is there? What is that? Nobody has explained that. NASA doesn't even say anything around this. I think it's very clear. And besides that, we have found many more domes in Mars. Even from the first day, why they didn't send the Curiosity to see this dome? This is one of the first pictures that Curiosity took from Mars. And we can clearly see there, this huge structure has to be huge. That is there. That is not a rock. I would have sent the Curiosity just to take a look. Instead of that, they send the Curiosity to the other side. Another mystery in Mars, something that nobody talks about it. As you remember, in 2004, the rovers, Opportunity and Spirit, were sent to Mars in a mission that was going to last 3 months. The Opportunity is still working. The Spirit worked for 7.5 years. Why they thought they were not going to work? Because after just a few weeks, they would be covered in dust, and the solar panels would stop working. Okay, that's the way they are. But then, something comes to the ropes and cleans them.
Hey, what is up, guys? Tyler here with Secure Team. The trailer that you just saw is from an upcoming film called Unacknowledged, and comes courtesy of a well-known, well-respected ufologist by the name of Dr. Stephen Greer. Now, maybe some of you have heard of him. If you're new to the channel or to the topic of ufology, well, let's just say Dr. Greer was out there grinding and digging up information when I was still in middle school. Alright, so he has been around for years and is well known as the father of the global disclosure movement and is the founder of the Disclosure Project, the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, and the Orion Project. Now, many of you may have heard of the Disclosure Project, which Dr. Greer set up and presided over back in 2001, where they held this groundbreaking National Press Club event, wherein which 20 military, government, intelligence, and corporate witnesses presented compelling testimony regarding the existence of extraterrestrial life forms visiting the planet and the reverse engineering of the energy and propulsion systems of these craft. We've actually featured many of these clips here on the channel, especially when talking about the bases on the backside of the moon and the former NASA techs talking about them airbrushing them out. And it is thanks to Dr. Greer that we have such video footage and testimony. And so for many years, long before Secure Team came around, Dr. Greer was spearheading this search for truth that we all seek. He has contacts and has spoken with countless military personnel and some very high-up people in the government and politics, and has even worked with former presidents. And he's put out some really great documentaries on the subject of what he's found, whether it be extraterrestrials or the fact that the government has for quite some time been in possession of secret technology, propulsion systems, alternative energy, that is likely hundreds of years ahead of what we're using now and could revolutionize the ways and means with which we use energy today, and if made public and utilized would literally save the planet and break our bond and addiction to oil and natural gas with which we've fought countless wars over. And so today I want to talk to you guys about his newest film, Unacknowledged, which isn't even out yet. But thankfully, I happened to be contacted by Dr. Greer's people a couple of weeks ago, and it turns out that Dr. Greer is a big fan of Secure Team. And so I was able to secure a private screening of this documentary, which I actually just watched tonight. Now, they did just hold a huge film premiere in Los Angeles last night on the 24th, which I was actually invited to, but unfortunately could not make it due to scheduling conflicts. And so they sent me a private screener to watch, and I told them, I'd love to check it out and love to do a review of it. And all I can say is that the film was nothing short of amazing. And the reason that I want you guys to know about it is because it very nicely packages a lot of the things that we've discussed on the channel, and a lot of the things that many of you who are new to the topic may not know about yet will be able to learn by watching this film. It really does put everything that you've missed out on into perspective and gives you a very well-rounded idea as to what's going on, what we know, what the government knows, what we're not being told, and the overwhelming mountain of evidence that supports the idea that we are not alone and that we have been visited for many, many years. So in the film, Dr. Greer, who, by the way, was a surgeon, he was an ER doctor, saving people's lives, operating on gunshot victims and stuff like that. But he gave all of that up to pursue this love of his, and that really does show in the documentary. I've rarely spoken about Mr. Greer, and honestly, you guys know that there's very few people who I collaborate with, who I talk about, very, very few. Because in this field, you don't know who to trust, you don't know who's out there just to catch headlines, and sell books, and do tours, and this and that. And there's plenty of disinformation artists, as we know as well. But as I learned more about Mr. Greer and have watched his films and reviewed his huge breadth of experience over the years, it became apparent to me that Dr. Greer is one of the few who has truly been a pioneer for this research. And that is plain to see in this new film, which goes into detail, discussing the alien phenomenon and the proof that exists to corroborate it. It goes on to talk about the Roswell crash and the alien beings that were recovered, the never-ending disinformation campaign that has been utilized by the government for years to downplay the evidence of aliens and to turn it into a laughingstock. But it also provides a wealth of evidence, whether it be video footage, eyewitness testimony, military pilots speaking about their encounters, radar footage, the shutting down of nuclear weapons by these things, and it really is eye-opening. So yeah, I just finished watching it, and am actually in the process of setting up an interview with Dr. Greer, who wants to come on the channel and talk about the film and talk about his work. We're going to be doing that, and we're working on some other exclusive things in the future. So I want you guys to look out for that. That's going to be coming very soon. I also want you guys to know that this film, although it's not out yet, it is going to be released worldwide on all platforms on May 9th. And so, yeah, that'll be like the DVD. You can get it on iTunes, and apparently if you get the iTunes version, it comes with 5 hours of extra exclusive bonus material. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, I wanted to do a review of the film. That's something I've rarely done on the channel. You guys know I always like to recommend good films. And, it just happened to be by luck that I got in touch with Dr. Greer after hearing about this film, and they were cool enough to give me an advanced screening, because apparently they've recognized the work that Secure Team has been doing. And, I told them, like I tell everyone else, I'll do anything I can to help further the popularity of this research and to open as many eyes and minds as possible. And so, I was honored to be able to watch the film. I'm honored to be setting up this interview. It'll be the first real interview I've ever done on the channel. So I think it's going to be really cool. And, hopefully we'll be able to work further with Dr. Greer and other researchers to get more answers. All right, so with that, thank you guys for stopping by today. Big thanks to The Orchard, which is the distribution company that is behind the film Unacknowledged, and to Dr. Greer for inviting me out to Los Angeles and for allowing me to check this film out and share it with you guys. So be sure to stick around. I've got new videos on the way, new UFO sightings, and I think 2017 is going to be a big year.
I greet you in the love and the light of the infinite Creator. Event is coming soon. YouTube channel. Here's the latest intel.
Aliens are here on Earth and will take over, claims scientist. By John Austin. Stanton Friedman, a nuclear physicist, is convinced there have been multiple visitations of Earth by aliens, who will ultimately quarantine us here on Earth. The Canadian claimed there was not a shadow of a doubt the existence of intelligent aliens was being covered up by global governments as part of a so-called truth embargo. Mr. Friedman, 82, is a top ufologist, who has been at the heart of investigations into the mysterious Roswell alleged UFO crash of 1947. After previously working on classified projects for American Aerospace Corporation McDonnell Douglas. Speaking to dailystar.co.uk, he said, "We have enough to prove without a shadow of a doubt that planet Earth is being visited by aliens. This is kept from people because who would want the world in upheaval? There would be mass panic and distress. If they, the aliens, want to make themselves known, it's easy, they will." He said recently declassified CIA files on UFO sightings were all part of the proof. So why does he say they are here? Mr. Friedman says aliens actually want to prevent humans colonizing space and will ultimately quarantine us here for the greater good to prevent mankind traveling. He said, "I think they are here. I think they are here to quarantine us, keep us from going out there. With our track record, we're evil." But Mr. Friedman claims our governments are trying to take advantage of aliens being here by obtaining their technology to achieve world supremacy. He said, "The first country to replicate alien technology will rule the roost if they can build it. It's political too. The US says, are we ready to put out anything if the Russians don't or the Chinese don't?" Mr. Friedman, who has written extensively on aliens and UFOs, has described this culture of secrecy as the world's cosmic Watergate, a reference to the President Nixon cover-up scandal in the 1970s. He now tours the globe giving talks on his beliefs at universities and conferences. Some skeptics are not convinced by his arguments, however. One poster on the forum skepticforum.com wrote, "Recently I was looking at some of Friedman's arguments for UFOs and against skeptics. Overall he did a pretty poor job of battling skeptics and proving his point. When he says he debunks the debunkers, he makes sweeping generalizations and says skeptics ignore some big cases even though many of them were looked at by skeptics. So my question is, what's his point? He only uses old cases that were mostly debunked and just tries to discredit skeptics rather than provide non-speculative evidence.